incredible. Yeah, came for the dollars, call it basketball. Then I did the dash, can I catch me, bro? Ooh, then I did the dash, can I catch me, whoa? Your whole team is no competition. Boy, I did it by myself, it's a solo mission. Running up the charts, I'm a fool, dog. Turn the whole field to a schoolyard. Bunch of students ain't eating around here. I'm the GOAT, little man, and I made it loud and clear. Put the gas on them like I whipped the Cavalier. Show no love, got the confidence, no fear. I use a dub, I'ma win, I won't lose with this. Ay, yeah, I'ma act a fool with this. Ay, yeah, I'ma act a fool with this. Yeah, 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 I'ma act a fool with this. Okay, yeah, yeah, can I hit that? Okay, yeah, yeah, can I hit that? Ready for this. Since like 9-5, I've been eager for.
Okay. Here we go. We will be doing so this will be my first time doing this, and we will be doing the recap for week number 3. So, we'll be going to Madden Battlegrounds. Okay, so for the week number 3 recap of Madden Battlegrounds, we will be going game by game, and the first game we will go to is the Dolphins versus the Jaguars. The Dolphins in Huntrix and the Jaguars in Decisive. So coming here, the Huntrix actually had more yards than Decisive, but as you can see in the score, it was definitely not about the yards. As you can see, the turnovers here, 17 total turnovers. Wow. But we'll go to the player stats. Wow. Wow, is this embarrassing. 81.6 rating for Mariota, 62.1 for Tua Tagovailoa. Yards 364, 460. Passing TDs 3 and Tua 3. Listen to these interceptions, guys. Mariota 6, Tua 11. Wow. Not the best performances from both QBs. Laviska Shenault Jr. Isn't he a wide receiver? Kamish, I want you to know this. But anyway, 10 rushes for 33 yards and 3 TDs. And Derek, 5 carries, 33 yards. Didn't get nothing going. And Tua fumbled. Receiving wise, wow. Jakeem Grant, 4 receptions, 195 yards, 48.8 on an average reception, my bad, and a TD. Next is D.D. Westbrook, 6 catches, 113 yards, and 1 TD. And then Gesicki got on the board, Chenault got on the board, DJ got on the board, and Adam Shaheen got on the board. Defensively, the most tackles is Noah Igbahini, 6 tackles, Bobby McCain 5, Baker 5, and Sidney Jones 4. Tackles for loss, Jerome Baker 1, Charlton Davis 1, and Emmanuel Ogba 1. Sacks for QB sacks, 3 for Chris Claybrooks, 1 for Baker, 1 for Ogba, 1 for Chason, 1 for Allen, and 1 for Al Woods. And interceptions, 2 for Claybrooks, 2 for McCain, 2 for Josh Jones, 2 for Henderson, 1 for Igbo, 1 for Barry, 1 for Scott, 1 for Jack, 1 for Quincy, 1 for Luke, 1 for CJ. Wow, a lot of interceptions here. Was there any pick sixes? Defensive touchdowns. Bobby McCain, Josh Jones, Miles Jack, and Quincy Williams, all with a defensive touchdown. Wow. Now, next game we'll be showing is the San Francisco 49ers, Tayshaun Kidd, and Snow Machine 12. Looking at the score, this was a very close one. In the yards, Snow Machine took that one, but turnovers, there was 3 combined, so not as bad as the last one. Phillip Rivers as the Giants QB, he threw a 127.6 QB passing rating, and the passing yards 291 with 2 passing TDs, 1 pick. And Jimmy had 73.1 passer rating with 175 yards, 2 passing TDs, 2 interceptions, and sacked 3 times with Phillip with 2. Rushing the ball, wow. Raheem Mostert, 17 carries, 139 yards, and 1 TD. Saquon did good too, 14 carries, 100 yards, and 1 TD. Receiving-wise, Darius Slayton had a day. 6 catches, 189 yards, and 1 TD. Lockett did good too. 4 catches, 149 yards, and 1 TD. Not a lot of it. Oh, Sterling Shepard got on the board, and so did Bourne. Defensively, tackles, Jabril Peppers at 8, Greenlaw 7, Yadum 7, Travarius Moore 6, Jason Verrett 6, and Logan Ryan 5. Let's go to the tackles for loss. There was Yadium, Logan Ryan, and D Ford. QB sacks, Logan Ryan, D Ford, Leonard Williams, Nick Bosa, and Kyler, who's that, Fackrell? Any picks? Logan Ryan, Yadam, Verrett, Bobby Wags. Any pick sixes allowed or anything? Nope. Okay, so that's that game. Snow Machine comes out with a W. Here, an absolute demolition. Like, I don't even know how to say it. Like, he smacked him. So, going into the box score, Pittsburgh were leading going into the second quarter, but from there, Houston just took over the game. Looking at this, Houston outplayed them in everything. But we'll go to the player stats. Watson didn't really do much. 170 yards on a 118.7 QBR rating. Didn't do much. But on the others, was he perfect? Oh, he was almost perfect. But on the other side of the ball, there was Big Ben Roethlisberger. A 42.6. A 42.6 QBR, 124 yards, and 3 interceptions. What is this shit? Shut up, Logan. Wow. David Johnson, 18 carries, 158 yards, and 3 TDs. James Conner, 19 carries, 75 yards. Duke Johnson, 7 carries, 32 yards, and 1 TD. And Kareem Hunt also got on the board with 5 carries, 22 yards, and 2 TDs. Shout out to the sheet. We think the Texans is a girl, so shout out to her, but I think she left. So, yeah. Thanks for reminding me, Perk. Nothing receiving wise, the biggest is Darren Fells, 2 receptions for 46 yards. The most tackles was Deion Buchanan with 8, Edmonds with 8, 7 with Steven Nelson, 7 with McKinney, and 6 with Noah Dawkins. Picks, there was 3 with Deion Buchanan, Keon Cruzan, and Justin Reed. Any Defensive touchdowns, Deion Buchanan was a defensive. So an absolute demolished over there. Here, I think it was a fair sim because it said 0 times played. Here, did they play this game? Text in the chat if they played this game. Perk, I think you'll be the one that knows, so text in the chat if they played this game. That was a free win? Alright. This one, the same thing. Was this played, or what's going on? Because it says away, and Titans did end up winning. Okay. Here, I think it was, yep, free win. Here, free win. This was a fair sim. Okay. So the Panthers versus the Chargers. We'll go to the box score, and Carolina, it was definitely a close game, but Carolina just held the lead the whole way. It came close in the fourth quarter, but Carolina, a really even game, I say, but a decent amount of turnovers. Terrible for the QBs. 51.2 passer rating, 239 yards, and 3 interceptions. Herbert, 36.9 QBR, 189 passing yards, and 4 passing interceptions, which means the rushing game had to do something. Yep. Christian McCaffrey, 15 carries, 88 yards, and 1 TD. Austin Eckler, 14 carries, 51 yards, and Mike Davis, 2 carries, 2 yards, 1 TD. Receiving, Robbie Anderson, 6 catches, 116 yards. John Brown, 3 catches, 76 yards. And McCaffrey, 7 catches for 65 yards. No touchdowns here. Defensively, that means there was definitely a lot of pick sixes. Kenneth Murray, 8 tackles. Chris Harris, 6. Year Gross Matto, 6. Joey Bosa, 6. And Miles Hatterfield, 6. Tackles for loss. 1 for Mattos, 1 for Tranquil, 1 for Brian Burns. Interceptions. 3 for Dante, 2 for Murray, 1 for Harris, 1 for Chin. 1 for Kenneth Murray. And yeah, a close game between those two guys. Panthers and Chargers. The Colts, this game was a fair sim. Dang, Perk. You lost again? My bad, Perk. Alright, now my game. I played the Detroit Lions, and as you can see, it was a blowout. As you can see, also with the stats, it was a blowout. Yeah, we'll go over the stats. Kyler Murray, 125.3 QBR rating, 483 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions thrown. And for Matthew Stafford, it wasn't the best day, but he definitely threw some TDs. 64.0 QBR rating, 397 passing yards, 3 passing TDs, and 5 passing interceptions. Sacked 3 times, Kyler once. Rushing, there was not a lot of rushing in this game. 4 carries, 84 yards. And for Kyler, it was 2 carries, 19 yards, and a touchdown. Receiving wise, there's definitely a lot here. DeAndre Hopkins, 5 catches, 160 yards, and 2 TDs. Danny Amendola, I don't even know. I know this is embarrassing. Danny Amendola had 7 catches, 145 yards, and a TD. Christian Kirk, 4 catches, 125 yards, and 1 TD. Austin Hooper, 4 catches, 121 yards, and 2 TDs. Kenny Golladay, 3 catches, 120 yards, and 1 TD. And Jesse James, 1 catch for 53 yards and 1 TD. And Larry Fitz got a touchdown. Defensively, tackles, Deontay Thomas, 6. Byron Murphy, 5. Buda Baker, 5. Jalen Thompson, 4. Drake Kirkpatrick, 4. And Duron Harmon with 3. Tackles for loss, Deontay Thompson, 2. Byron Murphy, 2. Buda Baker, 2. Jordan Hicks, 2. Marcus Golden, 1. And Devontae Kimball, 1. And if I said Jordan Hicks, 2, he's 1. Interceptions, I believe there was a lot here, but Hicks, as you can see, Hicks, Jones, Thompson, and Everson Griffin all got sacks. Interceptions, Buda got 3, Byron got 1, Drake Kirkpatrick got 1, Justin Coleman got 1, and Desmond Trufant got 1. Any to the crib? I don't think. Oh, there was one to the crib, I remember. Yep, Byron Murphy. So that was my game, and now we will be going to this game. I think this game was played, I'm gonna guess. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna guess it was played. So we're gonna go to the box score. Seattle just dominated every single quarter. 621 total yards. Turnovers though, 7. So Russell, alright, it was played. Okay. 112 QBR, 561 yards, 6 TDs, and 4 interceptions. Got sacked twice. Dak Prescott, 62.9 QBR rating, 303 passing yards, 2 passing TDs, and 7 interceptions. 2 times sacked. Rushing, nothing to really showcase here. Not a rushing game. Receiving, yep, this is what happened. DK Metcalf, 8 receptions, 281 yards, and 3 TDs. A tight end with Dalton Schultz, 3 receptions, 100 yards. Amari Cooper, 4 catches, 93 yards, and 2 TDs. And Greg Olsen got on the score sheet. So did Carson, and so did Kittle. He got Kittle. Okay. Defensively, tackles, Chidobe Awuzie 7, Trey Flowers 6, Quinton Dunbar 5, CJ Goodwin 4, and Luke Galford 4. Any tackles for loss? 2 for Dunbar, 1 for Flowers, 1 for Goodwin. QB sacks, 2 for Edmonds, 1 for Mayowa, and 1 for Dunlap. Interceptions, there was 2 for Shaquille, 2 for Byron, 1 for Randall, 1 for Dunbar, 1 for Awuzie, 1 for LaHill, 1 for Diggs, 1 for Harris, 1 for Lewis, and 1 for Trevon Diggs. Defensive touchdowns. There was 1 for Chidobe Awuzie. So, that's that game. A blowout. This game was not played. It was a free win. And Braden, this game will not be. But Braden absolutely demolished this guy. What do you got to say, man? Aaron Rodgers, 116.4 QBR rating, 513 passing yards, 6 passing TDs, 3 passing interceptions. Drew Brees, not the best day. 58.1 QBR rating, 306 passing yards, 2 TDs, and 7 interceptions. He got sacked once, and Aaron Rodgers didn't. Rushing, nothing here, but Jones got on the score sheet. Receiving, Marquise Goodwin. Wow! 8 catches for 224 yards, 5 TDs. Kamara, 6 catches, 122 yards, and 1 TD. Aaron Jones, 5 catches for 119 yards and a TD. And Traquan Smith got on the score sheet. But wow, does Braden have a lot of people to pass to. Tackles, Quan Alexander, Mullen, Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Williams, and Raven Green. Tackles for loss, 1 for Green and 1 for Gary. QB sacks, 1 for Kenny Clark, and interceptions, 2 for Amos, 1 for Green, 1 for Lattimore, 1 for Jenkins, 1 for Jones, 1 for Jackson, 1 for Gardner, 1 for Perry, and 1 for Kevin. Defensive touchdowns, there was 1 for Adrian Amos. Okay, now we will be getting into the stats for the week 3 recap. The stats. Okay, so let's go to the NFL. Alright, so Aaron Rodgers, 1,341 yards, 19 passing TDs, and 4 interceptions. One of the best touchdown ratio I've ever seen. Patrick Mahomes, 1,213 yards, 67 completions, 12 passing TDs, 15 interceptions. I'm going to go off passing TDs just to make this look better. Aaron Rodgers, we said. Patrick Mahomes, we said. Kyler It's not the best year for me, but 1,107 yards, 11 passing TDs, 11 picks, and Russell was 11 TDs thrown and 5 picks. Rushing the ball, it's been Raheem Mostert, 66 carries, 597 yards, and 7 TDs. Duke Johnson, 51 with 513 and 9 TDs. Cam Akers, 59 carries, 318 yards, and 1 TD. And Dalvin Cook with 42 carries, 280 yards, and 2 TDs. Receiving-wise, Ruggs is on top here, 36 receptions for 584 yards and 4 TDs. Tyreek Hill, 18 receptions, 500 yards and 7 TDs. Marquise Goodwin, 21 catches, 455 yards and 13 TDs. And DK Metcalf, 19 catches, 446 yards and 4 TDs. Defensively, we'll be going to tackles. Kenneth Murray with 25, Chris Harris with 25, Singleton with 24, McLeod 44, and Evans 22. Tackles for loss, we have 6 for May, 5 for Dion, 5 for Buchanan, 5 for Hightower, 4 for Alden, and 4 for Isaiah Simmons. Interceptions, and I know I skipped sacks, I'm going to go to that. Dante 4, Hayward 4, Jabril 4, Noah Igbo 4, Keon Cruz 4, and Josh Jones 4. Sacks, 9.5 sacks for Chris Claybook, 6 for Khalil, 5 for Chandler, 5 for D, 5 for Hicks, 4 for Jenkins. Okay, we're going to look at defensive touchdowns. So 2 for Josh Jones, 2 for Isaiah Johnson, 1 for Gary, 1 for Hooker, 1 for Burgess, 1 for Claybrooks, and 1 for Moose. Kicking, if y'all want to check kicking, Austin Seibert has made the most. Yeah. And kick return, if y'all want to see if y'all got a play over here, I'm not going to say anything, but if y'all, JJ Nelson just destroying over here. Punt return, nothing. Okay, that will be the Week 3 Madden Battlegrounds recap. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, Perk will be taking over. I just subbed him because he couldn't today. But he'll be taking over next time. Thank you and goodbye.